Hey, yo. Monday Night Football. Closing out week 12. A dozen onto a baker's dozen week 13, right? Friday the 13th. Alex Rodriguez. How you doing? How you doing? Mr. Michael Myers. What up, what up, what up? Mr. Freddy Krueger. What up, what up, what up? Halloween's over. Thanksgiving's over. Heading over to, yeah, that's right. The little Santa hat over here. Interesting slate, fun slate, nice slate, leverage plays, all up in this slate right now. Yeah, I would say that there's a lot to like on this slate right now. What up, everybody? So let's do it. Let's get the Q&A going. We got people in the chat saying, I'm really feeling the overpassing yards for both quarterbacks. Sprinkling McLaurin and Logan Thomas, and lock it for a 10X, maybe a little 20 spot. Yeah, Logan Thomas is a stay away for me just because of the news as of an hour and a half ago. That Logan Thomas and Curtis Samuel, as you may expect, but we actually got the news, so now you kind of limit the upside. If we didn't get the news, that Logan Thomas and Curtis Samuel will be on pitch counts. I assume that means these guys are going to run 12 to 15 routes apiece, and it could land in a touchdown for Logan Thomas, which maybe keeps him in play for you, but, 12 to 15 routes, about half the routes in a normal player will normally run. That's not good, right? That's not good. Logan Thomas has a touchdown upside, though. But what up? Let's get it. Chris, what's going on, boss man? What's everybody looking at on Prize Picks? What's going on, Mont? Fellas? Toast Twinkle. What's going on? What a name. Brandon up in the chat. Kicks good up in the chat. Time to get the green. Ooh, trying to get the green? Okay. What the fuck is good? Steve up in the chat. Jaden, we got a bunch of people sliding in right now to start this stream off. We love to see it. Sal, get the dollar rooskies. Hey, the rooskies. Root. Sal, thoughts on Swain and the captain? It lets us get to both QBs. Yeah, I think there's other ways to get to both QBs, but not that you have to. But frame Swain in the captain spot ain't going to be it for me personally. Is not going to be it for me personally, but I do think he'll be lower owned or under owned in the captain spot. Like he might be a 1% owned captain with a 3% chance at taking down the slate. Who you got projected for more tonight? DeJounte Murray or Cat? Somebody says, fuck the showdowns. You're speaking on the NBAs, right? Yeah, we're not going to be doing no NBA streams till after the NFL. In terms of your specific question here, I don't know why I can't sort. Filter in my Excel sheet for NBA, for anything right now. It just stopped working literally 2 months ago. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know if I had to do multiple things or what. I don't know. And I got Towns for 45.5 points, and I got DeJounte for 46. So literally the same fucking thing for these dudes. I'm making a stand. 70% Metcalf and 30% McLaurin at captain and 20 max. Is that ridiculous? I don't think so. I like Metcalf. I'm a little bit lower on McLaurin in the captain spot tonight, but I still have some shares. But yeah, I think that's fine. I think it's completely fine. Freezing up here in NEPA. Sal, enjoy the Texas weather. Yeah, my mom sent me a picture the other day, yesterday I think, of just all the snow out there. It looked pretty nice. It looked beautiful, but not beautiful enough to be up in that every day. For a day or two maybe. The question of the night is Metcalf or Lockett. Yeah, for me, it's easily Metcalf. It's easily Metcalf right now between the two of them. They're coming in with similar ownership. Metcalf is cheaper. Metcalf has a higher projection for me. It's nothing drastic in terms of his projection, but I think Metcalf looks like one of the better leverage plays in the slate. If you follow me on Twitter, which if you don't, at Vetri DFS, what are you doing, right? If you follow me on Twitter, I release my top 3 leverage plays right now, and Metcalf, spoiler alert, is one of those 3. Yeah, he just looks great. The dude's averaging over 8 targets per game with Russell Wilson this year. The matchup that could not get any better for him. It just comes down to if Russell Wilson is going to stop throwing and completing only 50% of his passes. The most efficient quarterback of all time has become suddenly awfully inefficient. Obviously, the finger is going to be playing into that. Salvatore, how come I'm hearing the Miami Vice theme music in my head? Says Robert Mysterio. Yeah, it's probably because of this fucking flame shirt that we got going on right now. Straight flames. Best play under $4,800 today. The best play under $4,800 is probably Jason Myers, the kicker, at 4K flat for me personally. Adam Humphries over 2 receptions. That's a no bet for me. Who will be the best SuperDraft captain? Yeah, SuperDraft's interesting today because so many dudes look very similar. I think DeAndre Carter looks appealing on SuperDraft with a 3x multiplier. Logan Thomas and Curtis Samuel are going to make DeAndre Carter be a little bit more in play, mainly on SuperDraft, though. DeAndre Carter, you're still getting a 3x multiplier as if he's not on the field. He'll probably run 15 to 20 routes now today. So he looks appealing as a really sneaky captain option on SuperDraft tonight. DeAndre Carter is basically tied for my highest projected guy there, and he has a high multiplier. Metcalf, Lockett, Those dudes look pretty nice. Alex Collins, they're all viable to play overall. It's just really getting that captain right. But, yeah, I mean, even DJ Dallas is in play over there. There's no one standout, clear, and obvious play. There's about, I'd say on SuperDraft tonight, there's like 7, 8 dudes who look like good plays. And about 3 or 4 of them can be strong captain options. I lean towards the higher multiplier guys for obvious reasons. But yeah, SuperDraft is really interesting today. A lot of parity on SuperDraft. Good afternoon. What's going on, Ernie? First time tuning in. Dope Energy says, Dad with the sauce. Dad with the sauce. First time tuning in ever or just for the live stream? Welcome in. Hopefully you're chilling out, relaxing, maxing, all cool. But is both quarterbacks going to be too chalky? I mean, both quarterbacks will be the 2 highest owned plays on the slate. It depends on what you do after that. How much money do you leave on the table? I think that 2 quarterback builds will be popular tonight. I think that you will see a lot of 2 quarterback builds with a wide receiver, with one of those cheap values between Disley, Humphreys, and Freddie Swain, and then fill out the rest. So I think there's going to be a lot of lineups with 2 quarterbacks, a kicker, maybe even Washington football team defense. Fill in the rest. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Appreciate all the free content. Yeah, no problem, no problem. If you were fading one quarterback, who would you fade? If I had to choose one to fade, I'll just fade Russ. He's more expensive by $1,200. I have Heineke for basically the same projection. How was Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving was lovely. Did 2 Thanksgivings on the day itself and then on Saturday. So lots of Thanksgiving food up in me. Lots of pie with ice cream on it. Ooh, vanilla ice cream with all them pies. I had this pecan pie, which I don't know if it was a normal pecan pie. I haven't had pecan pie a lot in my life. But the inside was like runny. It was like gooey. It tasted like fucking like French toast. It was amazing. It was unreal. You told me to go Brady and Stafford stacks and it completely burned me. I mean, my man Kevin Schmo, you losing all the dollar riskies these days. Yeah, I mean, Stafford stacks were fantastic. I ain't going to lie to you. Those Stafford stacks luckily did not let the news bother me all that much. I had like 45% Stafford stacks. I got it down to like 33, 35% by the end of the day and ended up still working out. I mean, Brady stacks were completely fine. Obviously, 4 rushing touchdowns is never going to be predictable. But yeah, the Stafford stack still held strong as my highest owned stack. It worked out yesterday. Got off a 2 weeks skid, if you will. Skid with the Stafford stacks. The Stafford stacks. I've won more money on prize picks than I have playing DK for 3 years. That makes a lot of sense. Props are way more beatable than DFS is ever going to be. It's just as simple as that for 99.9% of people. Taking a break from DFS, somebody said. All right. I dropped it. Taking a break from DFS. Wanted to drop in as a chat and say, OG, what's up? What's going on, Chase? How you doing, boss man? Was in Florida for Thanksgiving. Got to play some prize picks and SuperDraft. Come on, Tennessee, get with it. Hey, nice work. That sounds awesome. What's your projection for Logan Thomas? I have Logan Thomas for 6.5 fantasy points. He's expected to be on a snap count today. So Logan Thomas went from a yes to a maybe now for me. Basically like touchdown or bust at that price tag. He's on a snap count. Heineke is clearly the best captain option tonight. I definitely would not say clearly the best. I would say he's one of the best options. I'd say him and Metcalf, those cheap price tags for what those projections look like. Is D. Eskridge sneaky? No, I don't think so. I think he runs about 5 routes tonight, so it's hard to be sneaky on that little usage. What are some of the smash props tonight, Sal? Danny P, what's going on, boss man? Yeah, so earlier on, there's not really a lot of props. Like the numbers, at least on Prize Picks and Underdog, look pretty efficient to me. I took this earlier on in this morning's video, Lockett over receiving yards and Logan Thomas over receiving yards, and now I feel terrible about this because Logan Thomas is on a snap count, and I would not have taken over 28.5 receiving yards had I known this news this morning. So don't like that. Antonio Gibson under rushing and Alex Collins over rushing on Underdog. I like that. So I have that on Underdog. I have that on Prize Picks. I also like Metcalf's like over receiving. Metcalf's overall, like if I was to go to, let's see, Metcalf's overall like fantasy numbers, like I have Metcalf for 16 points. He's at 13.5. It's enough to bet it. I don't have a bet right now, but the quarterbacks, all their props are pretty damn efficient today. Maybe Russell, if you think that he can start to get healthier or just get back to his old self, the over 21.5 completions looks good. But based on the last 2 weeks, that looks absolutely horrible based on his completion percentage being 52%. But yeah, I mean, like the Seattle receivers, their over fantasy points look good. I probably wouldn't want to combine them both together. And if you do, you should probably be taking some numbers on Russ. Collins over 8.5 fantasy points looks good. That might even be a better bet than the 43.5 rushing yards. I expect around 15 or 16 carries. So we're just hoping for like a 3 yards per clip there. Whereas this number more so gets you there as if he finds the end zone because he's got no passing game work. But there's just not a lot of overall props. Like you only have like 10 fantasy scoring numbers instead of like your normal, I think, closer to 15. So yeah, it's tough overall. I like the Underdog prop that I have. I still like the Metcalf. Maybe we can put together a community prop later on. It would have to circle around like Russ actually getting back to his older self, though. Not a lot of props worth taking on the Washington football team side. You're kind of forcing yourself into one. I guess they added a Humphrey prop Don't know how much I like that, but he's expected to play and should have a full-time role as opposed to a lot of guys on that team. So there you go, Danny P. The Seattle receivers both have some nice numbers. Under on Gibson's rushing yards, although the rushing yards on Prize Picks are 61.5 for Gibson. So if you have access to Underdog as well, I would take the under 68.5 over there. Either site, if you guys are interested in props, the code SAL gets you a free bet up to $100. Might as well use it or lose it. Any news on Adam Humphrey? He's practicing in a limited fashion all week. We'll know in 40 minutes, but I'm fully expecting him to play. You like DJ Dallas tonight? Yeah, I'm liking the DJ. I'm liking the DJ, man, right? DJ on the beat. Hey, Mr. DJ. Yeah, I'm liking him. I'm liking him a little bit more than I was going to because I think he's going to come in lower owned. I think he'll come in as a nice leverage play. The price tag that he's currently at, I think he'll be the prominent pass catching back in that offense. I think he'll see a decent amount of touches on the ground. Like you're looking at potentially 10 opportunity game from DJ Dallas, with half of those being targets. At $5,200 in this nature of this slate, that looks pretty good to me. Yeah, I think that he'll be a leverage play. Projection doesn't look great on DJ Dallas, like 8.2 fantasy points. You're basically getting DJ Dallas to be like a very similar projected player to Gerald Everett, but he's $1,000 less. So if like you're interested in Gerald Everett today, I think you should be even more interested in DJ Dallas because they're very similar plays projection-wise. And DJ Dallas obviously has a little bit more versatility to him in terms of on-the-ground usage. Would you fade both quarterbacks in single entry? Probably not. Definitely not in this slate. I mean, if you're doing that, you're probably playing, both Seattle receivers and McLaurin, which isn't an awful, if you can even afford that, right? Which isn't an awful approach. So I probably won't in single entry, but I think that it's possible. Alex Collins TD tonight. Yeah, and that's what makes Alex Collins interesting tonight is, one, his price point, and two, the usage that he'll get. He'll probably see 15 to 16 touches. He'll be lower owned in the captain spot. I'd expect Alex Collins to be like 5% owned in the captain spot. I'm going to have Alex Collins captain spots in, let's see, right now I'm not getting any, but if I was to run him in there, I'd probably get like 15%. So like that 2 touchdown upside, there's not many guys in this slate, not counting the quarterbacks, that have 2 touchdown upside. I mean, Gibson, Alex Collins, that's it. And Alex Collins is $2,000 less than Gibson. So if you have a guy scoring 2 touchdowns on a showdown slate, strong chance they're the captain, right? Depending on their price, which Collins is pretty affordable. So I think that keeps Collins in play overall in the slate, of course. The props, we like those. But then also just his captain opportunities are in play. In single entry, I'm not taking that risk. But if you're playing like the Millie Maker today, Alex Collins and the Washington football team defense look like pretty interesting plays, which are kind of polar opposites in terms of how they get there. But yeah, that's in larger field stuff, I would say. Do you recommend doing big legs like that, or just stick to 2-leg parlays? On Underdog, I would just stick to 2. Like I don't really have. I mean, it's up to your personal risk. Obviously, when you go for 5, you have a very small chance of hitting it, and when you hit it, you pay it off big. I personally would just stick to 2. Can't get into any of the slate options. Sean says it's showing next week's spreadsheets. The optimizer isn't loading. The optimizer is all good to go as of right now. It's all loaded. Everything's up in there. I would try refreshing or relogging back in and just double check your access. But everything's up on my end right now. Just checked for you. Somebody says, why the fuck are you so cool? I'm just chilling out, relaxing, maxing on cool, my man. Are kickers in play tonight? Very much so, yes. Some of the best plays on the slate are probably these kickers. Thoughts on Cam Sims? Hard to like him. Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas returning in a limited fashion. Cam Sims isn't even running routes. Like, Cam Sims has ran 5 routes in each of the past 2 weeks. That's terrible. It's resulted in 4 targets on 10 routes, 40% target rate. That's not going to continue. I don't know why they don't use him more. They have so many damn receivers they're using. But with Curtis Samuel going to run 12, 15 routes, Logan Thomas now going to run 12 to 15 routes in the middle of the field. Somebody's going to be inactive tonight, right? So track the inactives. With Logan Thomas and Cam Sims returning, one of those receivers is likely to be inactive, or Logan Thomas and Samuel. So either Cam Sims is going to be inactive, Diami Brown, or Dax Milne from BYU, the rookie. So my guess would be it's Dax Milne, but who knows? He's been active for like every single fucking game this year. Lockett or Wilson in single entry. If I had to choose one of them, I mean, it depends on the rest of your lineup, if I'm being completely honest with my man, Jamar. If I had to start my lineup with one of those guys, I would start it with Wilson. Russell's a perfect 9-0 on games right after his birthday. There you go. What a stat. Everybody can find the stats. Best value play tonight. Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're talking about for values, right? Like, showdown slates are just going to... They're going to prop up guys who aren't that great of values. Like, I'll probably say it's Jason Myers as a kicker relative for, like, how this value turns out. If I told you my actual point per dollar values, it would tell you that 1.1 projection on D. Eskridge is the best because he's only $200 when we know that that's clearly not that good of a play at all. For anybody projected above 3 points, it's Freddie Swain for 4.5 points, but I'll just say it's Jason Myers. Will Dissly's a $600 worthy punt for touchdown upside. Who do you have in the $400 range? Nobody. I don't have any ownership towards anybody below Will Dissly's price range. I believe I do have ownership to Will Dissly, though. Actually, no, I didn't even. Do I have him in my pool? Let me see. So as of right now, I don't even get any Will Dissly at 2.8 fantasy points. So at $600, I currently don't have any Will Dissly, but I do think he's worth getting some shares of. I'll probably have to look back into that. But at $400 and below, your only options are D. Eskridge, Dax Millen, Diami Brown. One of those three, or one of those two Washington guys is probably going to be inactive. None of them look good. Can we do a mock SuperDraft lineup? I mean, the SuperDraft plays that look good, to me, there's a lot. Like, there's so much parity on this slate, you might as well get a little bit wild. I think DeAndre Carter looks more appealing now. I think the best SuperDraft plays overall tonight are probably going to be some combination of DK Metcalf, Alex Collins. There's just so many. Like, my highest projected SuperDraft play is for 20.5 fantasy points tonight. 20.8. And then my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My ninth highest projected is 18.5. So I have 9 guys within 2 points of each other on SuperDraft today. Like, usually there's 1 or 2 guys popping off for like 3 more points than anybody else. There's so much parity tonight. So I lean to go to the higher multiplier guys. So like DeAndre Carter, Alex Collins, DJ Dallas, all look way more appealing than usual. To an extent, Gerald Everett. And then I start to get to like the guys who have massive ceilings, your Lockett, your Metcalfs, who have a decent multiplier. So that's like 8 or 9 names I just named that you fit into these 5 spots. You play around with it. If you're playing one lineup, it's difficult to play one lineup on SuperDraft tonight and not have regrets because so many guys' projections look so damn similar. Like so many of these dudes. I would probably lean like factoring like DeAndre Carter's multiplier at 3 looks really good, but like Alex Collins and DJ Dallas will look like strong SuperDraft plays. Won't be that highly owned in the captain spot. Nice multipliers, decent projections. It's where you can start to get different at captain and take down slates by yourself. Do you have to take that risk, though, if the contest is still not going to fill? I don't know. I'll probably play a lot on SuperDraft tonight, though. $25,000 contest over there. It's only filling right now at about 20%. So if you want to get over there, the best chance to actually win $5,000 to first tonight in any contest, any spot, your best odds are going to be on SuperDraft and DFS just based on the odds of the contest not filling. $20 for free if you use the code SAL. $25 for free now, actually. Sal, do you see this game hitting the over? Yeah, no stance on the over-under. In this specific game, the way that Seattle plays is so slow-paced. How well that Washington football team's defense is playing as of late. Like, everything on paper sets up for this game to go under. But that's exactly why there's a 47 total here, right? Both defenses are solid against the run. Both secondaries can be beat, but are not absolute dog shit. Washington football team secondary was absolute dog shit about a month ago. It's improved a little bit, probably because their pass rush has improved, which gives quarterbacks less time. So 47 over under. I mean, I don't have a bet on it. Sally, sure. Which defense you own more of? Appreciate you, brother. I appreciate that. Appreciate the cert compliment. Washington football team defense looks like a much better play today. I would be completely fine getting 0% of Seattle's defense today. Honestly, like in a one game slate, I'm getting right now. I have 23% Washington football team, 7% Seattle D. Sal, what's the best advice for a newbie in DFS? There's a couple pieces of advice to give. The first one is understand why you're playing. Are you playing for straight entertainment purposes? Well, then just playing the Millie Maker, right? If you're playing that, entertainment, but you'd actually like to keep your bankroll, just keep it alive, whatever it might be, well, maybe you're just playing in cash games then, right? If you actually want to have a chance to win upside and not lose all your money and have the entertainment, kind of all the best of both worlds, or maybe you don't even care about the entertainment, you just want to invest somewhere that has a little bit more risk to it, contest selection is the biggest thing then. It's by far the biggest thing is contest selection. What contests are you playing in? If you are trying to build a bankroll, playing Showdown slates in general is probably not a good idea for you. I'm sorry, it's just not, right? If you're trying to build a bankroll, it's not. Showdown slates should be basically purely entertainment for the most part. There's still leverage plays, but there's like 3 or 4 decent leverage plays on a Showdown slate at best, whereas, on a main slate with 10 games, there's a couple dozen leverage plays, right? So maybe that's high, but like 18, right? Something like that, 15. So that's the first thing. And yeah, just contest selection. Single entry and 3 max, the less people in your contest, the better, because it's way easier to beat 100 people in a 100-person contest or 200 people in a 200-person contest than 150,000 people. That's the lottery, right? The only reason you're playing those is because it says there's $1 million to first place, right? Your odds of actually winning them are basically 0. Are you playing any Collins and Dallas together in any lineups? Yeah, I don't have any rules against it, so I sure am. Thomas coach talk doesn't scare me this week, says DFS Go Pack Go. Hey, go Packers. Big win yesterday. Nice time to get the bye week. Yeah, that's up to you. That's up to your risk tolerance. I don't really have a read on that. Yeah, I mean, Logan Thomas, Curtis Samuel. I don't have any reason to believe that like the Kittle stuff doesn't matter. Like Go Pack Go says that I remember the Kittle news saying that he was limited and then he wasn't. He was low home. That's a totally different situation. They're not on the same team, right? Kyle Shanahan has been known basically all season long to not tell the truth, whether it's with the Trey Sermon situation, whether it's with the Trey Lance and Jimmy G, and all these situations. He's pretty much known. Brandon Ayuk, like anything that this man says, don't believe him. Whereas Ron Rivera this year has time and time again stayed true to his word, right? Stay true to his word. Curtis Samuel is going to be limited. He was limited in both games that he came in this year before getting hurt, right? Antonio Gibson is dealing with an injury. We're going to limit him. Jarrett Patterson starts to get touches out of nowhere, right? So there, Ricky Seals-Jones is going to be our full-time tight end. No split. Now that Logan Thomas is out, you get 40 routes leading the NFL that week for tight end. So, like, I'm trying to read between the tea leaves here. If Ron Rivera is now telling us that there's going to be a pitch count for Curtis Samuel, which already happened this year and was true, and Logan Thomas, I'm just going to believe him at this point. That's my personal take on it. The whole Kittle thing literally does not matter at all. They are separately independent of each other. There is no correlation between Kittle playing with his coach being Kyle Shanahan when he said he was going to be limited and Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera, everything he's told us this year has been true. Kyle Shanahan, everything has been false. So they fall in line there, personally. That's my stance on it. You can play whichever way you want, though. Thoughts on Logan Thomas in the captain spot? I'm not interested. Logan Thomas is going to be on a snap count tonight. I have him for 6.5 fantasy points. I am projecting about 12 to 13 routes run. I am projecting around 3 or 4 targets. You're hoping for touchdowns if you play him. We back in, Big Pimpin'. We love to hear that, Sean. We love to hear that. Best captain for single entry? It's probably going to come down to DK Metcalf or Heineke for me. Metcalf has clearly the higher ceiling. So that's where things can get appealing. Like that's where I lean is DK Metcalf. I think those are the two best captains, Metcalf and Heineke. Metcalf clearly the bigger ceiling. He has the 30-plus point game in his bag, way more than Heineke does. So that's where you're trying to play the range of outcomes on it. That being said, though, and he's cheaper than Heineke. That being said, if you're looking at how often, when he doesn't hit his ceiling, DK, and he's just going for these, decent games of 15 or 16, how often Heineke becomes the captain, I do think is higher. I do think Heineke is the captain more often than DK tonight. I think it's by small amounts. It's probably not by much. That being said, though, when Metcalf hits, I mean, he hits. It's not even close. Humphrey or Swain tonight? Yeah, flip a coin. I'll say Swain just because I don't think that his role will be limited. One, look, Swain stinks. He has a broken coverage touchdown this year, and then he has one other touchdown. So he really has like one play this year, Freddie Swain. That's it, right? He stinks. That being said, though, he has no competition for his routes run. Adam Humphries isn't being targeted downfield, so he would have to get like these 6-7 targets games, which I don't see coming. So I think they both stink. I don't think either of them has a high chance of being in the winning lineup. Both probably like around 10% to be in the winning lineup. I prefer the kickers. I prefer Washington football team defense. But if you're forcing me to choose, I'll say Swain because I don't think anybody inhibits his routes run, whereas Adam Humphries is now dealing with Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas, potentially Cam Sims or Dax Millen, DeAndre Carter, right? All these dudes. Good advice, Al. Sharks always talk 150 max milli, but most are not profitable. Yeah, 150 max in a milli maker is, in my opinion, for me personally, right? Everybody's different. If you are doing this full time for your living, and it has been a proven track record for you, and you somehow can just not watch the games or not watch your results and keep a good mental state, then go ahead by all means and do it. But that means you probably have to be working about 60 to 80 hours a week to actually get into every tournament. You're not just 150ing the main slate NFL GPP. That might be the worst slate to actually 150 because of how much access to information there is for NFL. You have to start 150ing WNBA, League of Legends, CSGO, like esports, right? All that tennis, all this stuff to actually do it full time, right? So like people that are telling the average person to put 150 lineups into the Milli Maker when it costs $1,500 or $3,000 in it, and it's your least odds of winning, just don't seem like, in my opinion, like good people. If they're telling, again, notice I said the average person, not somebody who is dedicated 20 to 30 hours a week to DFS, right? And has the money to lose. Like if you put $3,000 on your table tonight and it caught on fire, you would have to not care at all, right? You would have to be like, all right, it doesn't affect my life to throw it into the Milli Maker. That's just my stance on the Milli Maker. It is good for marketing. It is the reason why a lot of people watch this show because DraftKings is so big they can offer $1 million contests like almost every single night in certain sports. But realistically, for the people that watch me, and if you watch me, care about yourself, your personal finances, entering that is a not profitable endeavor for basically everybody that doesn't win the Milli Maker or finish in like the top 5 and then stop playing. Which kicker is the better play? I'll go with Jason Myers, but they both project out really close. Like they're both projecting for me for like 7 to 8 fantasy points. Myers is cheaper. He is on the team that has a slightly higher total, and it'll be similar ownership. So just Myers. Like it's kind of a coin flip, but I'll just take Myers. How many rushing attempts for McKissick tonight? I have McKissick tonight, I believe, for like somewhere around 5 and change. Bates, since Logan is limited, yeah, it just doesn't do enough for Bates. Like he's not cheap. If Bates was $200, sure, but he's still $3,600. Like he's priced as if Logan Thomas might miss this game. They had to preemptively price him. So a $3,600 John Bates, who even when Logan Thomas and Ricky Seals-Jones were out, was only running like 17 routes. Now with Logan Thomas in, I think you're going to get 10 routes out of John Bates. And at $3,600, that's just clearly not worth the 2 targets that he might get. What to do, baby? I need this stack of Heineke and Scary Terry to get 45-ish and half-point PPR. Based on my projections, you are unfortunately, obviously, hopefully I'm rooting for you. Based on my projections, you're going to lose by about 10. The afternoon only Stafford stack won me $3K on a $12. Thank for the advice. You rock, Sal. Nice work. Nice work. We love to hear it. We love to hear it. Do you take into account if it's a home or away game? Do you think it matters? Yeah, it matters to an extent. I mean, it's the overall, like, how easy it is for these teams to travel, how nice their private jets are, right? How nice they're staying in their conditions at this point, the technology on the human bodies, and not a lot of them going through like 3-hour time differences and all that. It's not the UFC where you're going to Abu Dhabi for a fight and have to get used to the whole climate for like a week. I don't think home field advantage matters all that much. Maybe in the playoffs with the fans back, it matters a little bit more. But in terms of like all the sports betting sharps and all the analytics on that end of it, it went from being like a 3-point advantage to now in a lot of places being like a 1-point advantage. Seattle's a different story. Washington, not so much. So, yeah, I mean, matters somewhat. It's already baked into the spread, though. I'm very interested to see where this channel goes after watching a few of your older videos. Yeah, we're about 3 years into the channel now. Would you be open to having your own podcast? I don't know what that means, my man Kevin Schmo, if you want to expand on that. This video has a podcast version, this channel. Not the live streams, because it doesn't make sense to add those to a podcast once the slate starts. But there's a Sal Vetri Show podcast that has this. I think the uploads to this channel go on that. But yeah, I'll be interested as well. I don't even know if I'll be covering DFS in 3 years. Who knows? Maybe, right? I don't have any reason to stop, but 3 years ago, a lot has changed since I created this channel. A whole lot, doing it full time comfortably. But at the same time, I want to continue to always challenge myself. So whether that be trying to tap into broader audiences, whether that means more in-depth stuff in terms of like NFL draft player film, or whether that means being in a totally different space, I really don't know right now. All I know is that I enjoy the football side of it. I hope the USFL, United States Football League, which is apparently launching in April with an 8-team league, I hope they have DFS. I love the NBA. I like NBA DFS, but it's not as exciting to me anymore to cover day to day. It just becomes like this endless grind of like the same fucking shit, right? So TBA or TBD if I will be covering NBA this year. Odds are I will, but at the same time, if there was another football league like the XFL or USFL, I would definitely be covering that. You think Logan would be a good cheap captain to make room for 4 studs? I'm not personally interested in Logan Thomas, especially since he will be limited. Who had the obvious Panthers stacks this weekend? I did not know. What are good correlation pieces to play when you roster defense, the opposing kicker, question mark? I think it's all overrated. I'll be honest with you. I think it's overrated. The whole the correlation coefficient between a defense and anybody else in the slate isn't going to be that high. Like a defense and their running back is probably the way that you'll see any type of decent correlation, but even that's not that high. Like maybe a tiebreaker. So what does that mean? Washington football team and Antonio Gibson will correlate a little bit. Washington football team and McKissick or Patterson will barely correlate, right? But that being said, it's not that high of correlation. Daily fantasy is way harder now than even 2 years ago with all the content. Yeah, of course. But again, that's going to primarily focus in the NFL space. Like golf still is pretty damn bare. Like I know there's Mayo out there. I know there's my man Rick, right? I think those are like the 2 heavy hitters. I'm sure like Osmo and other channels do golf content still. But for the most part, it's still pretty bare. So golf is, and there's not much to cover in golf. It's a very leveraged sport. You just don't play the highly owned guys most of the time, and you have a much better chance. But like golf, there's not as much information. MMA, there's not as much tools or information out there from a DFS standpoint. Betting, yes. DFS, no. NBA and NFL are obviously the 2 biggest sports. And because of that, those 2 have the most content out there for them. But the NBA content that's out there isn't that great. Like Osmo does a good job. I would like to say that I did a good job when I covered it last year and hopefully this year. But it's not that great out there, the information. I'll be completely honest with you. It's a lot of people creating And shout out to creators out there, but it's not that valuable, a lot of the content, when people are just going through the DraftKings page the night before and just picking random players just to get some views or plug their sponsor or whatever, right? There's no actual analysis or talk about projections and leverage and things like that. Well, I mean, what's the fucking point? My uncle is trying out the USFL. His name is Sal Vetri, somebody says. Hey, Sal, what's up? 10K contest. Who's the favorite captain? Just got here. Either DK Metcalf or Heineke. I'll probably go. DK has a higher ceiling. That's where I'll probably lean. So here's the thing. DK, when he hits, he's going to win you the slate in the captain spot, right? That's obvious. And he has a decent chance of being there because he's so damn cheap. He gets the volume. That being said, though, when he doesn't hit, it's gonna be busto. His 10 or 12 points, you don't even place. So DK is close to like an all or nothing play in the captain spot. Not terribly all or nothing. Like Lockett's way more all or nothing. Half the fucking dudes on this slate are. Whereas Heineke, like, you feel pretty comfortable with Heineke going for 18 to 20 today, which even if you don't win the slate, you can still have like a top 10 or top 1% finish and not win with a Heineke lineup. So it kind of depends on your risk tolerance. Does Collins get any passing work, or is Dallas? I think Dallas is going to mainly take that. Collins doesn't get much passing game work. I mean, the dude has 1 catch in the last 3 games. He runs like 6 to 10 routes a game, whereas Dallas last week on 37% of the snaps ran 11 routes. So, yeah. Sally, drinks tonight or staying away from the poison? Yeah, I just don't casually drink much. Like, I had a couple of hazy. I like hazy IPAs a lot. IPAs in general, but they have some really good ones down here in Austin. The electric jellyfish is like fucking unreal. McConaughey has one as well. It's called the McConaughey's, right? But I had like one on Thanksgiving and one on Saturday. The other Thanksgiving I did, but I don't casually, like, you'll rarely, maybe like once a month, or I mean, I haven't had a glass of just whiskey just to sip on in probably like 6 months. I don't know. I don't get like super stressed out all that much, and when I do, I usually just go on a run. Sal, Hodge and I are going to send you a selfie in a couple of weeks from a bar in Austin. Duck face or prom pose? The prom pose for sure. Yeah, I ran into Hodge. I ran into Hodge at Lavaca downtown in Austin, my man Miguel. Yeah, I got to set something up with Hodge. Just a chill sesh or something. Hodge and I should do some in-person content. We should split on a little studio somewhere. You been doing good on Prize Picks lately, Sal? Yeah, I mean, kind of just the last week has basically just been like a steady flow on props. Some days it's just everything's lost. I mean, like Thanksgiving Day was just an absolute terrible day for props when you talk about having DeAndre Swift and a good amount of props. So who else got hurt? I'm thinking Darren Waller. Like, it just blew the fuck up, right? Shout out to Aaron in Green Bay. Hey, any news on Humphreys? We'll get news in 19 minutes. I would expect him to play, though. I'll pull back up some of these guys. Everett or Logan? I'll take Everett if choosing one. Are you playing the luxury box tonight? As of right now, no, but I'll see if there's still spaces in it. I do like this slate. I do like this slate a good amount, but as of right now, I'm not playing the luxury box. The luxury box payout structures since like the first couple of weeks of the season has just been, it's been pretty shitty. It's kind of like an all or nothing. And on slates like Showdown slates where a lot of the times you're going to split, if you hit it all, you better win the 100K and not split like fucking 30K like I had to do earlier this year. So it just makes the luxury box a little bit more difficult. Like the payout structure is you get 35, what is it? It is 100, what is it, 35%? So tonight's luxury box payout structure is 29% to first, and then second place you're getting not fucking much, 50 divided by 350. Like second place is getting 14% of the winnings. Like that's not great, especially when, again, like there's a pretty good chance that first or second place is going to have a split lineup with one other person. Rob Jones says, Sal, checking in from Lakeway here. Keep up the good work. Where's Lakeway at? But I appreciate that. Thank you, says my man Rob Jones. Oh, like by Lake Travis. Nice. You're pretty damn close, my man. Can you play DK and Lockett in the same lineup stacked with Russ, or is that too much Seattle exposure? No, I think you can. But that's the thing. If you're playing DK and Lockett, I think you have to play based on their price tags. I guess you don't have to play Russ. Because if Taylor Heineke outscores Russ today, you don't have to play Russ. So, yes, you can play DK and Lockett today. You can play them with Russ. Of course, there's obvious ways where that works. Russ goes off. Those are your two main receivers all the time for Seattle. But you don't actually have to play Russ with DK and Lockett. Because if Taylor Heineke scores 24 tonight and Russ scores 23, and both of those receivers have 20 points, well, then Taylor Heineke, you're not going to be able to afford all four of those guys more than likely, right? I bartend in Round Rock. Everyone and their mom drinks jellyfish. Yeah, jellyfish is great. I don't know why. It just really is good. Like, I don't even think it's a marketing thing. Obviously, the name helps. Like, when I first got here, I was like, yeah, I'll try that one. That's a cool name. But, like, legit the best IPA I've ever had. I'm only 25, so probably haven't had many. But, yeah. Sal, Cobb did great for me yesterday. Too bad test of lineup sucked. The rest of the lineup sucked. Yeah, and he got hurt, right? He didn't get the 100-yard bonus because he got hurt. Groin injury. He had to leave early. Rivera said he's not as worried about Logan Thomas about the snap count. Won't be as serious as Samuel. Logan's still viable. Yeah, Logan's been viable today. I just think he's going to run 15 routes, and I think that you're going to need the touchdown at the price tag. Sal, do you have Metcalf's projected captain ownership? Thanks. I have him. His overall ownership I have at... So I have Metcalf projecting for 52% ownership. I'd say about 10% captain ownership is what Metcalf will come in at tonight. Somewhere around 8 to 10%. John Bates, not for me. No McLaurin captain love. I have... so McLaurin is probably like the 5th or 6th best captain today because of his price tag. Obviously has a ceiling on him. I have 8% McLaurin captain lineups, which will probably be around the field. Fading Russ a good idea in small field. I think it's fine. It depends on the rest of your lineup, but I think it's fine. Here are my interests from $7,000 to basically the 4K range or so. Any love for Diami Brown at $200? My man Mike Champion, hope you're doing well. I think he might be out. Like, I think they might healthy scratch him. We'll see in 15 minutes who the odd man out is going to be in the receiving core. Will it be Millen? Will it be Diami Brown? But, I mean, nah, Brown's just not running really any routes. What up, GM? Making up for yesterday's distant tonight with your great insight on tonight's slate. Hey, we love to hear that, Steven. Hopefully you're having a lovely day. I'm in the ghetto in St. John's area, Austin, somebody said. Yeah, never heard of St. John's, but the ghetto. What you doing there? 2030, Sal's the GM of the Packers, somebody said. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Definitely not 2030. Definitely not the GM of the Packers, but I want to continue to do content. It's just a matter of where that content space goes. Like the DFS side of things, I obviously love it. I'm still playing it, but I want to continue to challenge myself. And like right now, I have a very good grasp on this stuff. Like it's kind of just like routine for me now. I want to be able to challenge myself, whether it's in this specific general space, like watching film, like being on more. Ideally, the challenge would be to be on more larger networks as a guest. From that standpoint, but that's not just like easy to land spots, unfortunately. If you're playing single entry, would you prefer to not spend the whole 50K to get different? It depends how many people are in your contest, Jared. That's more so the question. Generally speaking, I don't like to spend 50K, all 50K, but if there's only 200 people in your contest, you can get away with it if you have a unique captain or less owned captain. But generally speaking, yeah, I don't want to spend 50K, but it really depends how many people are in your contest. Have you been to 6th Street yet? Yeah, a lot. West 6th Street's great. East 6th Street's decent. 36th is what 36th is, right? I would say that West 6th is the best spot to go out that I've been to so far. The Domain's solid. And Rainey is solid. 36th, really haven't been out much to. Don't want to. E6, kind of chill out there after some flag football. What is the long and short on Samuels? How much ownership do you have? What do you mean long and short? Is that a saying? Samuel's expected to be on a pitch count. I would expect that. You saw him on a pitch count earlier this year. You saw a decent amount of targets, but not many downfield. And in general, not many routes run. Ownership that I have on Curtis Samuel today, I think it's going to be low based on what my projection is, but I do have decent sized randomness. I have 10% Curtis Samuel, which will probably be around or below the field. Where's the thick ass pumpkin? I tossed it. Thanks. I tossed it. I got to go to the store and try and get something like a little Christmas tree for right here, or maybe like one of the little houses. Do you think McKissick's price looks better if they have to play from behind and he gets more targets? Yeah, of course. It'll look better if they're playing from behind. You think kicker will be in the optimal tonight? I think there's a pretty high chance a kicker will be in the optimal. Yes, higher than usual. Least favorite player getting ownership tonight? It's probably Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson right now is probably my least favorite. Like he's picking up a decent amount of ownership. I have Antonio Gibson currently for... I have Gibson for 40% projected ownership. That's a little bit high for me for what the price tag is. Yeah. The best single entry contest on DK? I don't know if there's like a best one. Single entry in general are nice. The smaller the contest field, the better in my opinion. So, yeah, the smaller the better. Anything you can find in that like mid 200 range, I think is pretty decent. Who do you think wins tonight? I'll go with Washington. Are you ever going to step outside the DFS realm and create other content? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Ideally, yes. Just the question is where. I have content on like personal finance and some things there on a separate channel. But just haven't really touched that in a little while. But yeah, usually the NFL off seasons is where I have that time to do that. But I mean, everything right now in this space is working really well. I get to live very comfortably doing this, so there's not much reason to do it outside to challenge myself, which is something that I would like to do. Is Underdog payout similar to Prize Picks? It'll be more. Their power plays are similar. Yep. Metcalf or Lock at captain spot. I'll lean Metcalf. Need a little gingerbread house. My daughter just said, yeah. I mean, I always love making gingerbread houses. It's obviously tradition. It's fantastic. It's like carving the pumpkins. You got to do it. But right here, gingerbread house, I'd eat the whole fucking thing in like one day. So can't do that. Get a thick ass Christmas tree. Yes, we're going to try to. Would love to see you break down film on NFL prospects. Yeah, I'm not sure what NFL prospects is. I don't know if that's like a TV show or a YouTube channel, but NFL prospects as in like the legit prospects. Yeah, I want to do that. The problem is YouTube has like some restrictions. I would have to somehow get permission for the all 22. I don't know where to get the all 22 for college. That being said, I've never really looked into it. So yeah, I would like to do that as well. Any Carter love, Sal? Yeah, the Carter love has increased from where it was. Yes. I think Gibson is going to get 20 plus rushes. Don't let Russ Cook take some shots with McLaurin. Yeah, I just don't know. Like, we haven't seen it is the issue, I guess. We saw it a couple weeks ago, right? What do you have, 22 against Tampa? Disley in your player pool. I let him be in my player pool and I still got 0%. So I guess we just don't have to go that low today is what this is telling me. He's obviously a touchdown or bust, right? He's not going to get much usage otherwise. Yo, Sal, you should get into farming and staking crypto with some of your profits. I don't know anything about that. So, like, unfortunately, it just ain't for me. I mean, crypto I have investments towards. Now that I hit one of my retirement goals in terms of my investments, I'm going to start to put more into Bitcoin in probably the next month or two until I get to 10% of my net worth into Bitcoin, and then I'll go back into retirement until I hit another goal, and then I'll put more into Bitcoin. I already have the CryptoPunk. I basically feel set on NFT investing just since I got a CryptoPunk, but that's obviously popping off. New drinking game. Every time Sal says that being said, take a drink. There you go. There's a shot for you. Has there been any news on Washington football team picking a new name? I have no idea. Any interest in Swaim? Yeah, between Humphreys and Disley, if you're going to pick one, I'll go Freddie Swaim. The problem is the dude just stinks, right? Like, the dude literally has one play this year. With Russ. He has 2 touchdowns with Russ. Yeah, one of them was a broken coverage. So unless you think that there's going to be a broken coverage tonight, which rarely happens in the NFL, and when it does, is it really going to happen to your man Freddie Swaim twice in a year? It's just tough. These value plays are not great tonight. There's a reason why they're cheap. And even then, they're not dirt cheap. Like, Freddie Swain has seen his snaps drop in each of the past 5 weeks. He's probably the best value play below the kicker's price tag. But you should probably expect 20 routes run tonight. And those 20 routes will lead to 0 to 2 targets. He has no catches over the last 3 games. So far this season, in 5 games with Russell Wilson, Freddie Swain has 6 total catches in 5 games. And 5 of those came in 1 game. Right? That was his one good game against Tennessee, week 2. 5 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. It was like literally a career game for the dude. Other than that, he has games of 0, 1, 0, and 0. So it's tough. Again, it's kind of like the Byron Pringle. Like, Freddie Swain reminds me of Byron Pringle before Byron Pringle actually started to get more usage this year. He'd run 15 routes, and you hope for the 20-yard touchdown from Mahomes, right? Like, that's it. That's all he has to him. So I think that's where he comes in play. Thanks for the schmacks. You bet. Any interest in Swaim? So that's Jeff Swaim. We had some interest last week, right? Let's see. What is your favorite disc to throw? Backhand or forehand player? Disc golf I played only a couple times. I love it every time. I guess, just forehand. I don't know any of the interesting. I don't know how to get crazy with it, right? Thoughts on James Franklin contract extension? I like it. Look, I'm a Penn Stater. That's a Penn State thing right there. I like the contract extension. He's a player's coach. He's a really good recruiter. The ideal situation is that your head coach is one of the better offensive coordinators in the game, because then nobody can poach him. When you have a good offensive coordinator, like Penn State did a couple years back with Joe Moorhead, or you see every year in the NFL, like what's going to happen to Dallas and their offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, or whoever else might be out there, right? They get poached. Your offensive coordinator gets poached, right? Kyle Shanahan goes from Atlanta, gets poached, right? So if he's your head coach, nobody can poach him. Unfortunately, those guys rarely exist, right? There's like a couple of them that you can count on one hand. And unfortunately, Penn State doesn't have one of them. So, yeah, I think it's fine to take the next best thing is a really good recruiter to bring talent in. And you hope you bring in an offensive coordinator who stays for like 3 or 4 years before he gets poached. Yo, Sal, cheers to retirement funds, max 401k, Roth IRA, estate, Bitcoin, and stocks. Yeah, I mean, basically HSA, Roth, and then my solo 401k. Max all those out, max them out pretty soon, quickly actually, and then start loading up the brokerage fund is what I've been doing. Hope all is well. If you nailed all the plays last night on 2-game slate, I didn't play Sunday into Monday, but you're asking if you did. Would you play at quarterback? Who would you play at quarterback, 2 wide receiver, and 1 running back? No salary restrictions. No salary restrictions. I go DK, Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson, and Heineke. Favorite Seattle running back, regardless of price tonight. In terms of the ownership that I have, regardless of price tonight, it's going to be Alex Collins. I just think he gets more opportunities regardless of price. Where can I get that shirt, my man? Secrets, my closet. South Austin is here. Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up? Are you not doing prize picks anymore? No, we've talked about prize picks 3 times during the show, my man. We talked about prize picks 3 times during the show. We had prize picks in the video this morning. What you talking about, Willis? I don't like my prize pick tonight because Logan Thomas is now limited, so I don't like the 28.5. Can he still hit it on 15 routes? Yeah, he can catch 4 balls for 30 yards on 15 routes, sure. But it just becomes a lot less likely. I would not have taken this earlier. Lockett's over. Prize Picks just doesn't have a great board tonight. I'll be honest with you. I like the Seattle receivers overs in terms of their reception or in terms of their receiving yards and fantasy scores. I just don't really see anything on. I just don't see much to pair it with on Washington football team. Like Heineke's passing yards, meh. Heineke's rushing is probably more appealing than his passing yards right now. There's just not much here to pair it with. Don't really want to touch Adam Humphries or Logan Thomas at this point. Yeah, there's really not much to pair it with. I guess McLaurin's 62.5 receiving yards is nicer, relative. Need an NBA update. Okay. Yeah, let's update the NBA while we live action the one night a week because I think Thursdays it usually starts a half hour later. Live action. Alrighty. I'll pull this up so I can start updating the tools for the NBA on stream. I'm not sure if you touched on this. Any exposure to Dallas at captain? I do not have DJ Dallas in the captain spot, but I do like him tonight. He's on a short list to get into my single entry lineup. I think that he looks a lot better than probably many will believe tonight, in my opinion. The many will believe is what he looks like. I got 30% of Russ at captain. Not happy about it. Seems high. No. Yeah, I mean, Russ is going to be like 10% on the captain spot tonight, so you're 3 times the field. If you don't feel good about that, then I would change it. But yeah, you will probably be 3 times the field on Russ captain spot at 30%. Yes. I don't think a captain will be higher owned than like 15% tonight. Maybe DK gets to 15%. Maybe Heineke gets to 15%. I think it's going to be a pretty balanced captain slate, though. I think you're going to see a lot of guys around 10%, which means that none of them are terrible plays at that point. Like nobody's over-owned in the captain spot tonight. Maybe McLaurin will be slightly over-owned based on his odds of actually being in it, but I don't think that his ceiling kind of justifies it. I am finishing right now updating the NBA projections for all you beautiful people that are patrons, 1,000 plus Patreon members. If you're not a Patreon member, I mean, come on, get up in there. Get up in there onto Patreon. What's we doing? What's we doing, fam? Sal, have you ever played Ultimate Frisbee before? Yeah, I actually really like Ultimate Frisbee. I've never played it competitively, like on a like IM team or anything like that. We used to play a lot in. We played a couple times in college for fun. Or I guess I have played on like not like an IM, just like pickup, and then obviously in high school, which was a while ago, a lot. But I don't know why I'm like a dog. If there's an open field, like Zilker Park and Austin is like my favorite place. If there's an open field, just throw me a Frisbee. More so, throw me a football. I just love running routes. I can sprint all day long and just catch a football. I love it. Flag football I play right now. If I could play flag football like every night, I probably would. Like I'm that much of a fucking nut job. If we're gonna keep it real with you, I'm like that much of a fucking nut job. Damn, we got a lot of stuff going on in Miami tonight, huh? With the Max Strus now popping off. All right, we're about to update this NBA. This shit just got a little bit crazy up in the NBA streets because Miami, every single person just became like an actually fucking good play. Kyle Lowry. All right, we're gonna finish updating this now. Bada bing, bada bang, bada bing, bada bang. Cool. So that's all updated. Yes. And who got out? So Miles Turner. All right, NBA people. The update is hitting your doorways now. What's the secret sauce for tonight? I'm double dipping. I think there's some nice leverage plays. I think that Jason Myers, the kicker, is probably one of the best kicker plays that we've seen on a Showdown slate in a little while. Again, all this being said, take it with a grain of salt and understand your own dollar riskies are going in there. And if you don't think Jason Myers or you don't like playing kickers in general, which I usually don't, well, then don't play him, right? Just the value that we actually have is basically touchdown or bust. Like Adam Humphries doesn't normally see enough targets to be worth a damn, and now 2 guys are coming back for this team. NBA projections. The final update is now live for all you. That was like a record-setting time for a 9-game slate and updating projections. We got that shit done. The optimizer is updated, and so are the NBA projections. So there you go. Showdowns usually come down. What do you got? Showdowns usually come down. Let's see what this guy's saying here. X that out. X that out. Bada bing, bada bang. Let me X all this tools out over here. Showdowns usually come down to some fluky nobody. Dallas Eskridge or third tight end. I'll go with DJ Dallas for sure. The good old days. Like this stream if you're making Dollarooskies tonight. We'd love to see that. You a bowler, Sal? I am not a bowler, no. I like bowling though, but I'm not. I do not go often. You throwing in Patterson the rookie? I don't feel the need to. He doesn't get passing game work. You're lucky if he gets 5 carries tonight. He would have to score a touchdown. And unfortunately for him, Antonio Gibson gets the goal line work. So like the only route to Patterson in the winning lineup is either an injury or he scores from like 40 yards out. Thoughts on playing DJ Dallas and McKissick instead of their respective starters? Yeah, I think it's completely fine. I actually like DJ Dallas a good amount. Yeah. Myers or Disley? I'll go Myers. Samuel and Thomas officially in. Okay, so the injury news usually comes out at 5:50 my time, 6:50 your time more than likely, East Coast. So they are officially in. I want to see who is inactive, though, for Washington football team. Somebody's got to be getting inactive tonight in terms of those receivers. So Dax Millen and Antonio Gandy Golden. Gandy Golden was an obvious one. So my man Dax, I'm sorry. He is inactive tonight. You are exiled. We are deleting you. Boom. He's gone. I had him projected for a solid 0.9 points tonight. So if you're wondering where do those points go, it's 0.9 points. Well, it's going to go slightly to Diami Brown, slightly to Cam Sims, and literally slightly to like Curtis Samuel. So not much of a change there. If you think Wilson is the answers, is play Heineke, same with DK and Lockett. I'm not sure what that means overall, to be honest with you. Seahawks, let's see what Seahawks inactives are tonight. The Seahawks inactives tonight. Bada bing, bada bang. Are they out yet? They're not out yet unless Seattle has Seahawks inactives probably really don't matter that much. Oh, Seattle has a PR team. Let's see if they released it. There you go. The Seattle inactives, as we expected and already knew. Rashad Penny, Travis Homer, and that's it. So we got all the news. The only inactive tonight is Dax Millen, which I don't think you were playing him anyways. You're the man, Sal. No, you're the man. Does Samuel being in hurt Carter? Yeah, it does. I mean, Carter's not going to run his normal 24, 25 routes now if Samuel's out there, yes. But that being said, Carter was operating as the wide receiver too. I still expect him to operate as a top 3 receiver, which means he can still run close to 20 routes. Does Logan Thomas at captain look good? And since we were told that he's going to be on a pitch count, no. Like if I thought Logan Thomas was going to run 25 to 30 routes, yeah, he's a captain option. At 12 to 15 routes, I don't think so, at least in my opinion. Somebody says, Sal, can you get off the press? I don't know what that means. Dax better than Brown for a punt if you need one. Yeah, my man Dax is gone, though. What's up, Sal? Hey, from St. Louis. What's up, St. Louis? I've never been there. Sounds like a fun time. What is that, Missouri? Who's your favorite captain not playing wide receiver? Probably Taylor Heineke. Showdown suck because it seems like everyone with projection wins with a random player who's 0.0. Yeah, that's the thing, David. If you don't want to be in a situation where somebody who is 0.04% owned wins a showdown slate, you got to play in smaller field contests. If you're playing in a 250-person contest tonight, it won't matter if Cam Sims scores a touchdown. He'll be in literally 1 or 2 of those lineups. And then those people who have him have to get everything else right. They have to avoid injuries. They have to make sure they get the right captain. They have to make sure they don't get a guy who has 0 points or whatever, right? So the 1% owned guys usually don't hurt you in the smaller field contest. That's why I like single entry, small field. Your skills actually matter. You don't have to leverage 6 spots in the lineup and play a purposely bad lineup to try and win the Millie Maker. Good lineups rarely win the Millie Maker. I'm sorry. It's usually bad lineups, right? It's usually bad lineups. Would you make a rule to not have DK and Lockett in the same lineup? I haven't made that rule. I thought about it. I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to. There's a world where both DK and Lockett score 20 points each tonight, right? It's a pretty easy world, too. Like, Lockett last week had a 100-yard game. He scores 20 points, right? Close to it. Metcalf last week's game finds the end zone, and he's in. Like, if you have a Metcalf 6-catch, 70-yard touchdown game, Lockett has 5 catches, 100 yards, that's very reasonable, right? Especially when they're, like, the only 2 receivers who see targets in the offense. Russell Wilson's birthday is today for that birthday narrative. Oh, is it? Ooh, uh-oh. I sent you a DM on an Instagram account. I was tilted as fuck after the parlay lost by 0.5 yards from McCaffrey. Check it out. Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, Instagram's like the one spot where I just leave usually it towards personal life for the most part. Obviously, anybody can follow me there. But, like, if I get Instagram DMs about, I guess, DFS, a lot of the times it's like somebody asking me about a stardom sit 'em for their lineup. I usually just immediately delete it. So I probably immediately deleted it without reading it, just because like I saw a picture, and that's like 99% of the time is start him, sit him. So it's nothing against you. It's just like my instant reaction of like swipe and delete an Instagram DM. I just don't have the interest in answering like 17 starter sit questions a day for random strangers, right? And nor do I have the time. Nor is being on social media apps, whether it's on my desktop, I don't even have it on my phone, good for the mentals. Yeah. Sally Chart says Seattle's third against the run, but DK says 31st. DK gives false or late info. DK's info is not using actually solid stats. Like they're using, I don't even know what they use. They might use like fantasy points against or some shit, which isn't a good stat because touchdowns are variant, right? Rarely should you ever, and you probably should never, go by what the fantasy point or the defensive ranks on DraftKings says. It is not good. If somebody's analysis is off of that, it is not good. Those numbers have no actual substance to them. I asked if you can get off the press, but I didn't realize I was listening 2 minutes behind. You were talking about route runs. Interesting. Valdez with a $5 super chat. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you. So if you have a lineup with more players than a certain team, do you like playing the team's kicker more? If you have a lineup with more players from a certain team, do you like playing the No like real stance on that. I don't think it matters. Logan Thomas, he's expected to be limited tonight. I have him for about 6 fantasy points or so. Doesn't feel great. I have Logan Thomas for 6.5 fantasy points. Still in play, just not as much in play now that we know that he's not going to have a full-time role. Is Humphreys in? Yes, he is. Thomas or Carter? If I had to choose one between Thomas or Carter, I'd probably still go with Logan Thomas. Just because of the price tag on Carter is almost $2,000, or almost $1,000 more. All right. We've been live for about an hour. Hey, if you're still watching, if you're chilling out, relaxing, maxing, all cool, hopefully you're having a lovely day today, right? The other thing I'll say is I've been promoting this more so lately because I want to take the podcast more seriously. So if you have not yet already, ratethispodcast.com/Sal. I'll drop the link in the chat. You'll get entered into a chance to win $100 Rooskies. There's the link. You just go to this. You click on Apple or whatever your actual website is, if it's Podchaser. But you go to Apple, you click that. It takes you over there, and you just write a review. It literally takes probably 30 seconds of your time, get you into a raffle to win $100. I'm actually debating just giving everybody $5 who does it, which could potentially get expensive, but if it does, it'd be a good thing for me in terms of getting more reviews. But the weirdest thing is that, like, that's just how people grow on podcasts. It's literally just reviews. It's kind of stupid. Like, if you get reviews, you literally, like, I went from being in the 40s on fantasy podcasts to, like, being 29 today because we got, like, 10 reviews in the last day or so. It just jumps around. But when you're higher up there more often, people who are just searching fantasy, you get pushed up there first. There's not much to it, which is not good yet, but it is what it is. I'd rather it be a lot more in-depth, right? Because most people, if it's in-depth, don't take the time to actually figure out how to beat the algorithm or hack it, if you will. When it's just reviews, well, everybody and their mother, whoever has the biggest audience, can say review it. As always, thanks, Al. No problem. I fucked up the super chat. Just wanted to say what you do is underrated. Keep the golden knowledge, my man. Always nice to watch your streams. I appreciate you a ton, my man. Appreciate the content, sir. Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate you being in here. Is Ricky Seals-Jones playing? No, he is inactive. Was doubtful coming into tonight and is inactive. James Robinson and Miles Sanders killed me as well, Sean. Yeah, man, the Miles Sanders injury wasn't great. Miles Sanders was averaging like almost 7 yards a clip in the first half. Then he gets hurt and misses fucking the whole second half. Rather fade Gibson or Terry today? I would rather fade Gibson for sure. Alrighty, gang. I'm going to bounce. It's about 6. I got to eat some food. Chilling out, relaxing, maxing, all cool. We're live in about an hour. We're going to be live in about, or not live. The football game starts in about an hour and 20 minutes. Enjoy it. It's a fun game. It's a 1-point spread. Should be a close game. 47 team total. I mean, it should be a decent game tonight. In terms of competitiveness, in terms of this slate, looks pretty damn good. Some value options. Kickers and defenses in play. Mid-range is like touchdown or busty, so you can really get different tonight. You might see a unique lineup win $1 million or whatever the first place prize pool is tonight. And then obviously your studs up top. I know football, so football knows me. Yes, every time I try to leave a review, it takes me to your page. What do you mean? If you have an Apple device, you should be able to leave the review on the Rate This podcast. Thanks for the information. Like always, much love. I appreciate you. All right, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for being here. When you win $1 Rooskies today, when you win them, you hold them up in the air like you just don't care, and you tell the people you did it because you know football. And hey, got them chapped lips. I got to put some Vaseline on like a true fucking guinea. Hey. I know football knows me. You ever see a man live on stream You ain't going to get this on ESPN, right? You're not going to be getting this on ESPN. A man. I mean, in a shirt like this, first of all, you're not getting it on ESPN. You're getting either buttoned all the way up, right? Or they're trying to play it cool and casual with like a gray t-shirt. No personality at all there, right? You're not getting this. You're not getting the breaking of the fourth wall, talking to the crowd. Have you ever seen a man? ESPN, Fox, like I like ESPN, so it's not against them. Anywhere, CBS, wherever, right? Hit your boy up if you want some guest spots, by the way. You ever seen a man or a woman, anything, whatever it might be, apply Vaseline live on the show, just talking? Huh? Damn. You never seen it. You never seen it before. It's your first time. Some true guinea shit, right? Enjoy the rest of your day. When you win the dollar skis, you know how you did it. It's because you know football. In football, keep the money to yourself. It knows you as well. I'll see you in the next one, gang. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. What a day, what a stream. What a stream. Monday Night Football. There must not be. There's only, 700, 800 people watching live tonight, fellas, ladies? My guess is there's not $1 million to first place. Whenever there is not $1 million to first place, the people, they own less. They own less. Let's see. All right. There's $500,000 to first place.